How to respond to sectarianism, how to unite the Ummah. And we said the first place to start is in the house of Allah. And only the Quran and Muhammad ﷺ can unite the Muslims. If we declare that only the Quran and the Sunnah can unite the Muslims, the implication is that in the house of Allah, only that should be permitted, which is based on the Quran and the universally recognized Sunnah. If you have a religious practice which you have followed for years and years and years and years, and which is beneficial, but it is not based on the Quran and Sunnah. For example, did the companions of the Prophet ﷺ celebrate his birthday? The honest answer, and there are many dishonest answers around, is that no, they did not. So while it is a joyous occasion, Miladun Nabi, Mawlidin Nabi, and all over the world of Islam is a joyous occasion, Mawlidin Nabi. The fact is that it is not the Sunnah. And hence, in the house of Allah, it has no place. We now have people standing up and reciting salams on the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Is this a Sunnah? The honest answer is no, it is not. And while it is something enjoyable, the Sufis do it, and you feel reverence and respect for the Prophet ﷺ, the fact is, it is not the Sunnah. So do not bring it in the house of Allah. When we perform salat and we make the salams, if you were there and Nabi Muhammad ﷺ was leading the salat, then after the salams there would be perfect silence in the masjid. And sometimes I get so angry that at the time when I want to make istighfar, I don't know whether Allah has accepted my salat or whether He has thrown it back in my face. I want to make istighfar. I want to make tazkirat. I want to make zikr. And you are doing something out there, and you're using the microphone, but I want to involve myself in private, personal ibadah, and you want it to be collective. Is this the Sunnah? No, it's not. It is the Sunnah to do it privately, individually, not collectively. So, I have given you some examples. This is where you start. Will you succeed? Can you do it? Do you think you can take an existing masjid today and remove from the masjid whatever is not in conformity with the Quran and Sunnah? I wish you well. I don't think you'll succeed. No, I don't think you'll succeed. Well then, what should we do? Answer: if you cannot restore the Quran and the Sunnah to the house of Allah, then go and build another house of Allah. and bring to that house of Allah all those who agree with you that the house of Allah is the place to start if we are to unite the Sufi and the Salafi, the Shia and the Sunni. For only the Quran and the Sunnah can unite the believers. But having done that, now Alhamdulillah we have this masjid. And there is nothing in this masjid which is not in conformity with the Quran and Sunnah. Nothing. So everybody can come in this masjid now, and everybody comfortable. The Sunni is there, the Shia is there, the Sufi is there, the Salafi is there, this one is there, that one. Everybody and their brothers in the masjid, mashallah. There is no partition, there is no screen, there is no cloth separating the men from the women, no. Because the Sunnah is that when the women make sajda, they must remain in sajda longer than the men. Why? Because, said the Prophet ﷺ, some of the men may not have enough cloth to cover themselves properly. And if a woman were to raise her head too soon, it would be an unwelcome sight. Indicating that there were women in the masjid for Salatul Jum'ah, indicating that the women were at the back and the men at the front, indicating that the space between the men and the women was not great, sometimes very small space, indicating that there was no barrier, no screen, no wooden partition, nothing between the men and the women. This is how it was in Medina. This is the Sunnah. And when you build your masjid, this is how it must be. Having achieved this, is there anything else we can do to respond? One more response before we end. It is not sufficient to unite the Muslims in the house of Allah. There is no Islam without the Jama'ah. And there is no Jama'ah without the Amir. And there is no Jama'ah without as-sam'u wa ta'atu, listening and obeying, said Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. So beyond the masjid is the Jama'ah. And therefore you have to have a kampung, because you can't change KL. So we go to the remote countryside and we build a kampung, a village. And in that village we have a Jama'ah. And the Jama'ah will have an Amir. And all the members of the Jama'ah will listen and obey the Amir. And there's only one masjid and one Amir. He, the Amir, now has the responsibility to enforce the deen to the extent that he has capacity to do so in that Jama'ah. And then you will have micro-Islam. And that's the best we can do until Imam al-Mahdi comes and macro-Islam is restored.